Hello! Welcome back to Lergle Stories. My name's Logan and I'm glad you're here. Today we're reading from Anthony Ant by Linda Dennis, and we're going to be reading chapter 11 and chapter 12. Last time, Anthony Ant found out about who was causing all his trouble, but he hasn't found out where his pocketbook is yet, and he really wants it back. So, we're going to start off in chapter 11, which is called The Celebration. Before we get started, let's say a big thank you to Austin Macauley Publishers, who gave us permission to read this book today. Remember to subscribe to Lergle Stories so that you don't miss any more. If you need to catch up on the other chapters, the videos are available on the YouTube channel. And there'll be a link in the description box below this video if you want to go and buy your own copy. So, chapter 11, The Celebration. Anthony's parents, Alice and Albert, were having a special meal on the weekend to celebrate their anniversary. Anthony was expected to attend, and he was looking forward to it, as he saw very little of his family since joining the Special Soldier Protection Team. Must be a very busy job. Alice and Albert had arranged for the meal to be prepared for them and their guests by Alfonso and Angelo Ant, who were two brothers from Italy. They arrived in England in a crate of wine bottles, quite by accident, but decided to stay as they were orphans anyway and did not belong to a colony in Italy. They were excellent cooks and were always creating unusual meals with various insects, herbs, and spices. They had found work easily in England and were now settled in the colony, which was not far from Portsmouth, where they had arrived on a cargo ship in the county of Hampshire. Alfonso was a cleaner in the Queen's quarters and was highly trusted. And Angelo was a forager, also working in the Queen's quarters, supplying food for the nursery. Anthony had never met the brothers before, but he had heard about them from others, complimenting them on their terrific cooking skills. So he was looking forward to experiencing their culinary skills for himself. Yummy. The weekend came around very quickly, probably because everyone in the colony had been extremely busy and on full alert regarding security. There had been several meetings on high security protocol, which had been a bit scary. Everyone was feeling quite weary too, as alarm drills on evacuating the colony had been practiced every day. Safety first. Apparently, inside information had been received from other nearby colonies that a red ant invasion was on its way, and that these fiery creatures were looking to take over as many colonies as they could. The time had come for Anthony to get himself ready and go over to his parents' place for their anniversary celebratory meal. He was hoping it would take his mind off all this worry about the red ant invasion threat, as it would have a devastating effect if it happened, and many ants' lives would be at risk. Anthony arrived at Alice and Albert's home, and he was greeted and welcomed by all his brothers and sisters, as well as his very happy parents. They rarely saw much of each other since Anthony joined the Special Soldier Protection Team, so this was a very special gathering for them all. Aunts, uncles, cousins and friends arrived, and everyone was having a very good time. The special meal was due to be served at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, everyone was enjoying several glasses of unusual blended sap juice created by the Italian brothers. What was in it, no one knew, but all the samples tasted quite different and certainly didn't resemble the normal daily sap juice that they all drank. At 8 p.m. sharp, everyone was seated ready for the start of this very special feast. Alice and Albert had employed 20 helper ants to serve, clear, and wash up. Otherwise, they could not have coped. There would be a lot of dishes to clean. A loud fanfare sounded, and out scurried the helper ants in waiter and waitress attires, ready to serve. The show was on the road, and everyone was happy and having a good time. Anthony, in particular, was very happy for his parents and could see they were delighted in having all the family and friends around them. Isn't that nice? Chapter 12: The Showdown. Now the celebrations were over. Anthony had to sort out the problems with Adam and Alex's aunt. He wondered about speaking to Special Advisor Aaron Ant about it all, but then thought better of it, as it may sound petty and he didn't want to come over or be seen as a wimp. No, I need to handle this myself, Anthony said out loud to himself. Today was Monday, and Anthony had been asked to cover a special duty of great importance. He was to collect, check, and store exclusive food supplies that were arriving for Queen Anastasia and the babies in the nursery. This food was of the highest quality and was not available to anyone else in the colony. The food had already been crated into special gold boxes with HM the Queen embossed in sparkling red ink on the side. Sounds lovely. Anthony was to meet the courier ants that were delivering the boxes and had to make sure everything was signed for and correct. Then he had to transport the stock to guarded containers hidden away in a special food vault in the Queen's quarters. Anthony felt honoured to have been chosen to cover this job, as Special Advisor Aaron Ant normally did this duty, but unfortunately today he had another important assignment to attend to. It was nearing lunchtime, and Anthony was thinking about having a small snack to keep him going until 2 p.m, when it was expected that the courier ants would arrive with the Queen's food delivery. He thought he would go to the Plant, Sap and Insect Bar and Grill, which was just minutes away from the Queen's quarters, so he could return quickly as soon as he was finished. He arrived at the Bar and Grill, which was rather a small restaurant, but was extremely popular with all the worker ants, particularly at lunchtime. Avril and Arthur Ant ran the restaurant, and they had been there for many years. They were always both warm and welcoming, and everyone felt relaxed and happy in their company. Anthony had not managed to go there for a while, as his duties had taken precedence. That means that his duties were more important. And he had no time available for any relaxed snacks. However, today he would enjoy it, as he saw this as a special treat which he normally didn't get the privilege of. Anthony opened the rickety green door and walked to the bar. There was a lot of chatter and laughter, and the place was heaving. Just as Anthony was reaching for a menu off the bar, he noticed some ants sitting around a table over in the far corner and thought he recognized a couple of them. For a minute or two, he could not recall who they were, but he definitely knew them from somewhere and had met them quite recently. He continued to look at the menu for suitable bar snacks and was about to order when he realized who they were. "Alfonso and Angelo Ant," he said out loud. "I must go over and say hello to them. They put on such a brilliant spread for my parents on their anniversary. I must thank them both again," he thought to himself, as he headed in their direction across the restaurant. Unfortunately, as he got closer to their table, he identified the other two ants that they were sitting with. Anthony couldn't stop himself and aggressively pushed his way to their table. He could feel himself boiling with anger inside. Other customers noticed something was brewing, and now the four ants on the table were also aware that there was about to be a very big problem. They had clapped eyes on one angry Anthony ant heading right their way. "So this is all very cozy, isn't it?" Anthony bellowed as he thumped the table with his fist. Anthony waited for a response from Adam or Alex Ant. They were the two other ants who sat at the table with Alfonso and Angelo. No one replied. Alfonso and Angelo looked sheepishly at each other and tried surreptitiously to slide something off the table into their laps, but unfortunately it missed and bounced off the table leg and landed at Anthony's feet. Anthony had already clocked what was on the table from quite a distance away, which is why he launched into them as he did. "Well!" he shrieked at the top of his voice, making everyone in the restaurant stop talking immediately. "Are you going to explain yourselves?" Anthony yelled at them again. Anthony had a very attentive audience now. He was going to make this good and show these four up for exactly what they were: liars and thieves. He was about to let everyone know exactly what they had been up to. Anthony bent down and picked up what he had recognized from afar: his missing pocketbook. He had noticed it immediately as the light had caught the gold symbol of an owl on the front when one of the ants had held it up. Anthony had always admired owls, as they are such wise creatures. Anthony now knew that Alfonso and Angelo were the other two ants in the Partners in Crime syndicate. He then went on to elaborate to everyone in the restaurant exactly what they had plotted in order to steal his pocketbook. Anthony stood on a chair and was enjoying every minute of this humiliation. "This is the work of despicable, evil minds, and considering two of you work in the Queen's quarters is an utter disgrace. Whether I take this any further, I will have to decide. Not only have you stolen from me, but you have injured others in this process and tried to criminalize several individuals that don't deserve it. This is all because of you two bullies." Anthony pointed directly at Adam and Alex Ant. "You think you can control others for your own gains. Well, you can't, and now everyone will be so much wiser once this gets around. Adam and Alex Ant, You are an embarrassment to this colony. Let's hope you have learned your lesson." With that, Anthony jumped down from the chair to cheers and applause from the other customers in the restaurant. Anthony had missed out on his relaxing snack lunch, but he didn't care because he had got his pocketbook back. He had also stood up to Adam and Alex's aunt, who incidentally hadn't uttered a word or retaliated in any way when Anthony accused them publicly. They were still unsure what he would do about taking this whole matter any further. All of them could lose their jobs, which would be a tragedy for some, as well as highlighting them as criminals. Anthony rushed out of the restaurant as he needed to get back promptly for the food delivery for Queen Anastasia. This time he wasn't going to be late. There was a certain spring in his step as he walked back. He felt proud of himself and more confident than he'd felt for a long time. It was a good feeling. My goodness, he finally found out who all the ants were that were causing all this trouble for him, and he got his pocketbook back. I think he was very brave to stand up to the rest of the ants, especially with all those other ants in the restaurant watching him. I hope that the naughty ants have learned their lesson and might decide to say sorry and hopefully never do anything like that again. We have a couple more chapters left, so we'll see how this all turns out in the end. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!